Welcome back to the Jin's Treasure, doing a audio instead of the written as it usually was, changing it up a little bit. And what we're gonna do today is another awkward or odd shaped tumble, and our specimen for today is the Amethyst. I picked this one out because of that beautiful purple complexion. And the design that we're gonna use is, the materials that are gonna be used for the design are I just chipped out 3 20 gauge wires, copper wire, and then, let's see, maybe about an arm's length of 24 gauge wire. And the length of these wires is actually, it's gonna be a little bit ambiguous for those who are using this video as tutorial for how to wire wrap their crystals at home. Each crystal is gonna have its own unique shape and size. And so to give you an exact length of wire, it wouldn't really work out because I don't know what size crystal you have at home. And as I was talking, you saw what I did there is created what I call the little head and the arms of the little copper person. And we're gonna kind of continue on with that trend for right now, or that theme. What I'm doing is just lining up all 3 of the 20 gauge wires. And actually, before I do that, what I'm gonna do is kiss the 2 points of that 24 gauge wire, slide all the way to that middle point where the loop meets, and then I'm gonna use that loop to be the measure point to wrap around the head. All right, so actually I don't wrap around the head, I hang it on the arms. And in the past, I've always thought of it as a scarf because it gets wrapped around the head, but really it's easier to come at it from the side rather than to take the wire and wrap it around the neck of the copper person. And as you can see, I just real quick did 3 little wraps right there. And then I'm gonna take this and then, let's see which way it goes. Continue in the natural spiral flow of that 24 gauge copper wire and start 3 bands or 3 wraps around the other side. So now it's kind of like this, 6-armed deity with some broad shoulders, and the 24 gauge wire is what's called the legs of this copper person. So now you can see if it were like a deity with 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 arms, a head, and then the legs. It's kind of fun to play imagination like this. It's just kind of activating that creator spirit or that artistic spirit, because that's what we're doing. We're just having fun with creation right now. And so I did a few more wraps, and I'm gonna, with the flat part of these needle nose pliers, I'm gonna take that flat part and just smush or clamp, flatten that out, and then flip it around and do the same thing to the other side. All right, and then I'll just do a few more wraps here. And then what this head part will actually become is that's where that leather lace or whatever kind of lace that you use for the chain. That's going to be the necklace part. And then this will be what we're creating is the pendant for the necklace. All right, and then from there, I'm gonna bend the most outer wires up, or the most upper wires, and then for the bottom wires, kind of do the same thing. And it kind of looks like this, almost like a spider or like an insectoid type entity now, and we're stepping further away from a copper person. Normally, it's a different style that I've shown in the past that continues with the copper person and then using the crystal body. So for this, we'll still call it a crystal body. But just because of the style of how I'm showing you, it's kind of doesn't make sense to call it a person anymore. And so what I'm doing is creating these loops, or not loops, but just these bends. And then I'm gonna do kind of a symmetrical thing. And so I got a bend or a bump. It's kind of like a shoulder bump. And then just on the bottom side, do that same thing. And then so when you finish, actually looks symmetrical like that, and then we'll just do the same thing with the other side. And I'm hoping that with the voice, it's easier to follow the instructions. But I'm gonna watch the video. I'm gonna post this and then watch it and decide from there if it's easier with the voice or if it's just easier for me to continue with the written instructions as opposed to the verbal or vocal. All right, and then from there, actually, probably I should have done this before those bends, before those bumps, but I'm gonna take the rest of the wire and wrap only around, I'm gonna wrap only around the middle wire. Just enough to the point where, so when I close this back up, now I can go back and continue wrapping all three back together. And you don't want to wrap too tight, because then it creates a kind of pinch, or it bends the wires in such a way that it's more difficult to make it look nice when I do this clamp, right? So there we have a continuation there of that same pattern, and then I'll just repeat those steps on the other side. And then the important thing is to not let the 20 gauge wires cross over and bend, so then they get mixed up, and at the end of it, it won't look nice if you do that. So that's why you want to wrap tight, but not too tight. All right. And then from there, I think we're ready to put in place the crystal in the center there. So what I'm doing is kind of just curving and bending the wire, getting the shape ready. And then I put the crystal body in. And then, so yeah, it looks nice. And with that, I can continue these wraps. And I might just go almost all the way down, estimating the distance of the crystal right here. And what I mean all the way down, not all the way down to the wire, but all the way down to where I think that the bottom of the crystal will reach. And then I do the same thing, bending up and then split it so they're all going in 3 different directions. And then before I do the bending, I'll just do the wraparound, that one singular middle wire. And then, oh, and what I did right there is with my thumb, I just kind of pinch and slide it that direction. And that really tightens up those loops if they're, like, say, I mean, that's an exaggeration, but if they're, if the loops are kind of, if you look closely, you can see how there's a gap right there. And then that's what I do with my thumbnail. I just pinch and slide. All right. And then from there, you can pinch down with the pliers, bend it, and then switch the fingers, bend it back. So now it's back on track, and then we'll do the same thing with the bottom. So we bend all the way around that finger, release, and then switch fingers, then bend back. Boom. And then we can just keep wrapping all 3 of them. Right, with the, tight, not too tight. And clamp down. And then we'll do the same thing with the other side. So I'm gonna measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll do like 6, about 6 or 7 more. Wraps around. Make sure I'm getting a wrap around all 3. Right, and then about there is where it will be symmetrical on both sides of the crystal body when I insert the crystal body in the middle. Looking nice, and then so bend up, bend down. Got the 3 directions, and then we'll take the wire, wrap it around the middle wire, wrapping the 24 gauge around the middle 20 gauge wire. Push in, tighten that up, and then we're ready to complete that bump. So 1 finger switch, bend the other finger, and then flip it around. 1 finger bending around that finger. And then with the other finger switch and bend. And then this one, I see it's actually, I need to do, I'm gonna open that back up because I want as many bands or wraps as it takes to have it so they all nice and evenly meet and are ready to all 3 get wrapped once again. And then you can kind of see, so this is what I mean about like the wires getting crossed. You can see how this top wire, I've pulled it too tight, and what that's done is it's pulled this wire from being at the top to now they all just kind of want to cross. And that's going to be an issue if I let it stay like that. So what I'll do is pinch down here away from where the wires have been wrapped, and now you can see that they're back aligned, all 3 just parallel. Then I clamp down, pinch and tighten that in, and then let's see how it's looking, right? So now it's got this nice frame, nice symmetrical frame, and we will throw in that crystal body. Carefully give it a hug. This right here is probably going to be the most difficult part of this process for this style, because I'm trying to kind of all at once fold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all of those bumps, so that they all kind of wrap and hug tightly on the crystal. So you can see, like on this bump right here, it's already kind of bent. This one I need to massage it and have it bend a little bit more, and then as well flip it on the back side. You can see how this one's kind of poking out, so we'll massage that one in. And if it's a lot of trouble keeping the crystal in place, you can definitely just drop the crystal out, and gives you a little bit more flexibility with your fingers to like here. So without the crystal, I'll just, with my fingers, I'm kind of pushing up and inwards. And then the same with the other ones up top there. And then as well, that head is, it's laying down, poking out flat this way, but I want it to be upright. So with the pliers, I'll just pinch. Boom, there you go. And now we're ready to reinsert that crystal body. And it's looking nice. If the crystal body is like not perfectly, if those bumps are not perfectly hugging it in at this point, that's fine. Just enough to kind of hold it in place, just enough that I can finish off. Oh, this is what I gotta do actually. I'm trying to pinch them all together, but they're in each other's way. So what I'll do is pinch, I'll show you from this angle. So I pinch down here, bend up a little bit, and now it's more easy for me to close that loop, and the wires are not in each other's way. So because this wire is shorter and this one is longer, I'm going to use this one to kind of tie the ends in together as best I can. All right. And then with that little tip, I don't want that wire poking out, so I'm going to pinch with like the tip of the plier fingers, pinch and roll. And this is a very delicate process right here. Make sure I'm in there, taking my time, not crushing the wires. One thing I said in one of my earlier videos is that the less touches that you can get with the plier fingers, the better, because if you continue to touch it over and over again, then it actually kind of damages the wire, and then when the piece is complete, you can kind of see like wire scratches, and that doesn't look good. You want it to look clean and smooth. And so what you saw I did there is with the other wire, the shorter wire, I kind of just did the same thing, wrapping it in there. And then now that that's closed, I can give more attention to properly massaging those bumps in there and just squeezing the crystal body into its place. What I want to do is come up with and if you come up with a word, drop it in the comments for me, help me out, because I want to have a frame or a word that, like frame kind of works. I want to avoid like negative connotation words like a cage. I don't like to think that the copper wire is a cage for the crystal. I don't want the crystal in a cage. But I do want to have it in some kind of a home. That's a nice one too, actually. A home or frame or like a blanket, just, you know, wrapping it securely. A safety blanket. And that's a cute metaphor, a safety blanket, but it doesn't really, appearance-wise, do it justice. So now we're just about there. We just want to finish off and finish off with these end piece wires. What I'm going to do is take one and curl it out, and just one by one actually curling them all outwards. And the reason that I have to curl them outwards as opposed to inwards is if I fold them in, then this part right here, this will just slide right off over time. I mean, the thing is, I've been wire wrapping for, you know, on and off for like 5 years. And what comes with the experience is all the do not do's. Don't do that because of this, and don't do that, like trial and error. And so that's what I want to share with you guys, is the gift of my experience of trial and error, so that if you, because this has happened to me enough times where I'm doing really well and having a really nice piece, and then to finish it off, I'm like at a loss and end up doing a choppy job of finishing off, and then it turns a really nice piece into a not so nice piece. The finishing touches are really, really important. So I got this one tail because it seemed to be longer than all the rest. And I'm thinking if there's a creative way, you know what I'll do is this one and only one, I will curl inwards. And then it will be just like this little monkey tail spiral. And that is how you do this made up style, just kind of made up on the hand. This style of a little crystal pendant.